On the night of November 11th, I fell asleep in my chair. I awoke around 1:15 to the sound of one of my daughter's toys. In my half-awake state, I didn't pay attention to which toy it was, and I assumed it was her stuffed puppy that will sometimes trigger randomly if it's laying a certain way. Instead, I realized it was one of the toys I had fixed a few years ago. Still in my half-awake state, I decided to grab my phone out of my pocket and start recording, thinking maybe this had a paranormal cause. I then attempted to communicate with the potential paranormal entity, something I almost certainly wouldn't have done if I'd been fully awake. Now, as a skeptic, I felt absolutely ridiculous doing this, and you can probably pick that up in my voice. Now, before I play the clips for you, I want to avoid some confusion about the way I'm investigating. When I say I'm a skeptic, I mean it in the true sense of the word. The ability to simply deny things doesn't make you a skeptic. The ability to come up with explanations for something without checking anything out doesn't make you a skeptic. It's my position that a good skeptic can suspend their belief or disbelief on a subject and withhold judgment after evidence is collected and reviewed. I don't consider myself a great skeptic by any means, but I've made an effort to apply this rule in the following investigations. So, this is what I caught on video. I apologize for the quality. I normally have my camera ready that I'm using right now and have it ready to go for these sorts of things, but I wasn't prepared that night. Can you turn the light on?
On. Light off. Light off. Off. On. Light on.
Can you turn it off? Can you turn the light off?
Off.
That doesn't seem...
On. Light off. 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 Light off. On. On. Light. Light. On. Light on. Light off. Light on. On.
Can you shut it off?
Light on. On. Light on. Off. Light on. On. Light on. Light off.
I tried to jiggle the light switch to make sure there wasn't either some kind of short or that the switch just wasn't making full contact. I then requested that the potential entity turn the light on again. For a moment, I thought messing with the switch had fixed it.
Can you turn it on? Can you turn the light on? Is there anything else there you can turn on? Can you turn on this toy?
After I made the request for the potential entity to try turning on another toy, the activity just stopped altogether. So I decided to go to bed, still uncertain if this was something paranormal. However, I had not noticed my dog at the end of that clip suddenly looking intently at something in the other room, or I would have checked that out too. So the next night, I made sure my camera was set up and ready to go in case it happened again. And around 12:30, I thought I heard it. I had my earbuds in and I pulled them out to check, but I didn't hear anything. So I grabbed my camera anyway and went into the playroom to record. Got no response. So I deleted that clip, and I don't remember why, but I decided to start recording again. And I began looking through the house. My thought was that if there was a paranormal entity, maybe it went somewhere else. After I reached the entryway, I heard the toy go off, and I quickly headed back toward the playroom.
I see the lights on. Are you able to move things? Can you move that block I just put on the floor? I don't know what to ask you. Can you try moving this block I've put on the floor? Hey, I have an idea.
I went to get a non-contact voltage detector. This is intended, normally, to find live wires by detecting the small electromagnetic field around the wires. So, should basically work the same as an EMF reader, because that's basically what it is.
So if anyone doesn't know, this is for picking up electrical currents in the wall to try to find wires and to see if wires you already have access to are live. Not sure why the camera is cutting that off at times. That's weird. So, right in the middle of nowhere. If you're standing right there, can you kick that block or move it in some way? Make sure there's something here. See, I came through here where it was coming on before. No, it's not. There it goes. It's buggy. Not buggy, but I mean it's... I mean, magnetic fields do fluctuate, I understand. So this doesn't really necessarily demonstrate anything. Let's see. It's gone. Block's still there. And my arms are getting tired holding this. Okay. If you're a spirit, can you make this light up? It should react to electromagnetic interference. Or, excuse me, electromagnetic fluctuation. Sorry guys, it's late. Again. Just so you guys can see that I'm still holding this. So there's no way to make this stay solid. You're either not pushing it or you are pushing it. And one push just makes it blink once. Even if you hold it. Okay. If you are a young spirit, can you turn the light on and leave it on? When you flicker it, that makes me uncertain that you've answered my question. See, I don't really know how to interpret this. So you're a young spirit? Would you be able to sit down right in front of me? I have an app here, and I don't know if it really works. Even if it was surreal. We are picking anything up. It's not going off with my dog like it was. Alright. Now, this toy has not done this all day. It's only during these late hours. I started at 12:30 to get my attention. I came over here to record, nothing happened, so I deleted that recording. And then I wandered around the house a little bit, and then heard it, which is where this recording started up. Okay. I got this app, it's kind of a generic spirit box, supposedly. Can you tell me your name? Wailing. That's not a name.
One of the definitions of wailing is simply to make a prolonged, high-pitched sound. At the time, it didn't seem to mean anything, but when I got the clips loaded to my computer and started editing, I found something interesting. Through the entire recording, there is a loud, persistent spike at 20 kHz, right at the upper limit of human hearing. Most people can't hear this frequency because of how high it is. Just out of curiosity, I tried lowering the pitch on the recording and stretching the timing to see if there was something else going on there, but there wasn't. It was just a solid tone and nothing else. It's possible that it's just noise produced from my camera, but I went to check all the previous recordings I've done using this camera, and it's not there in any of them.
Ritual? Okay, doesn't tell me anything. So I think the way this one works is something to do with the sensors inside of here rather than the traditional spirit box that uses frequency modulation just to sweep through radio channels. I haven't looked into how this works exactly, but those yellow indicators at the top seem to indicate the accelerometer is being used in some way. South. South happens to be the direction the camera is pointing right now. I don't know why that's relevant. However, can you tell me your name? Nancy? That's my grandmother's name. My grandmother died when I was about 5 or 6. Now, again, I don't know how reliable this is, even if spirits are real. That's kind of the whole problem with a lot of this technology. Trap.
I didn't think of it at the time, but perhaps the entity is trapped in this area for some reason. Though that would lead to a lot of questions as to why and how.
So these bars at the top are supposed to indicate increased activity. Kayla, that doesn't mean anything to me. This is a lot more activity than I've ever gotten before when using this. You're a girl. Okay. So maybe it's trying to tell me that it was a girl before it, I don't know, found how to make this say that by spitting out girl names at me or something. I don't know. How old were you when you died? I don't mean to rush you, but this camera does not have a lot of battery. It only lasts about half an hour at a time. It is, however, kind of hard to ignore this decrease in activity and the decrease in the light being turned on. And this isn't lighting up at all. Can you tell me how old you are? Or how old you would be? In case anyone's wondering what time it is here. 1:03 in the morning. Which is around the time that stuff was happening last night that woke me up. Mackenzie, that doesn't mean anything to me. See, increases on that. That turned on. Oh, I'll get out of here. Once could be a coincidence. Even twice. Why did that just get louder? Okay. Oh, almost. Tell me how old you are. Make what? Not normal. Make not normal? What does that mean? Okay, you can see that, or is it already out? Let's see if we can change the ISO in the middle of recording. Okay, that should be good. See, the activity reduces, the light stopped. It's... Okay, got some light again. So it's not quite correlating this time though. Again. I don't know what to ask, to be perfectly honest, guys. I would still really love to see you move something. That would be awesome to me. Even something small, like that block. Could you do that for me? Jasmine. Okay, doesn't mean anything to me. I don't know, getting more words that mean nothing than mean something. Process.
In retrospect, it's almost like the entity was telling me to go process the video to find things, considering some of the things I've taken note of that I didn't catch at the time.
It is hard to go off just singular words like this. Let's see something here. Well, Spirit, I'm gonna have to go to bed here soon. If there's something you want to say to me, say it before this phone dies. Grow. Okay. I'd still really like to know how old you are. Can you tell me that? Can you tell me how old you are? Okay, so if there's a spirit here, the impression I'm getting is that it's struggling to find the energy to communicate. See, it's like it picks up and then drops off. Like it's having difficulty finding the energy to communicate. Do you prefer the dark? Do you prefer the lights on? I've been ignoring it this whole time, but it's mostly saying on. Okay. Yeah. What about the porch? Okay. I don't know what that means. Maybe. Okay. I'm just gonna go look out the door. Huh. Guess what it said while I was gone? So I don't know if this is a weak spirit or a spirit that's just learning to interact with the physical, or if it's a spirit at all. And I will try to explain that later when I do the sit down and talk. Have you been in my house long? Together. What does that mean? Drafts? What? I don't know what that means. This is a long video. Longer than I expected the battery to last, for sure. I don't know what that means. Okay. Okay. Probably not around here. So is there a reason you're in my house right now? Question. Okay. I thought I heard a breath or a hiss around the corner or something.
Well, I thought I had imagined this hiss sound, which is why I didn't react to it beyond saying I thought I heard it. It wasn't until editing again that I noticed these other hiss-like sounds in the recording after that. Initially, I thought it might have just been my breath, but it's audible at different points in the stereo field. My voice is clearly to the left throughout the recording because that's where I'm sitting. So I thought maybe it could have been my dog breathing, but the hiss also occurs to the left and my dog is to the right. I also considered that it may be the sound of my clothing rustling as I moved, but again, it occurs in a different part of the stereo field than where I'm sitting. So I don't really have an explanation for this, and the fact that I also heard the hiss with my own ears makes it quite a bit harder to explain away as some sort of audio artifact. I didn't hear the subsequent hisses, presumably because I was talking. So, to make it easier for you guys to hear it, I'm gonna boost those high frequencies that'll kind of make it clear. For you that want to know the details, I'm specifically boosting 10k hertz by 12 decibels. And then I'm going to replay that last part of that clip and let it play on through to let you hear all of the hisses.
I thought I heard a breath or a hiss around the corner or something. I think I'm gonna have to wrap it up with this. Let's let one more thing come through if it's coming. I think that's it. Yeah, I'm gonna wrap it up.
I decided to finish up with the final EMF sweep of the area.
So, do one more sweep with this thing and see. Really curious why my dog's lighting up earlier and just in this one spot. Really weird.
On.
rope. Are you standing right here?
Light on. On. Light off.
Now, here's the thing, the furnace is under this floor. And I can't imagine the magnetic field of the motor would come clear up here. And even if it did, it would be a lot stronger down here at the floor.
On.
I don't know why it's so strong up here. And then it's gone. And it's back. So, I mean...
Light on. On. Light on.
One thing I didn't point out is that at random times while I was using that Spirit Box app, the camera mic picked up some strange tones right in the 1 to 200 hertz range. This is where the strongest components of human speech tend to be. The tones almost resemble a conversation in an adjacent room, but there's nobody here that would have been holding down a conversation. It was late at night, everyone was sleeping. I attempted to isolate and enhance a few of those tones, but couldn't find any apparent words. It was a strange thing to find, but unfortunately I couldn't conclude anything from it. Okay, so I have a confession. I started writing the script for this conclusion before I finished analyzing all the footage. I was ready to write off a lot of things, and I still have my concerns over the validity of some of the evidence, however. While I don't think I've got enough here to provide conclusive evidence of paranormal activity, I also find a lot of the coincidences to be highly improbable. Let's start with the toy. While I have some electrical knowledge, I lack enough knowledge to thoroughly investigate whether it was a glitch or some kind of other electrical malfunction. It is, however, difficult to explain the fact that jarring the toy or wiggling the switch during times when there's no activity would not reproduce the effect. It's also unclear why it usually only occurred within about an hour of midnight, and occasionally in the early morning after the kids are up. One explanation I thought of was if there was like a hairline crack in the circuit board. Changes in temperature could affect the width of that gap just enough to barely open it and make the behavior sporadic. The fact that the circuit board side of the toy is close to a vent would seem to confirm that theory, but that's quickly shot down when you consider that if this was the case, it should be happening consistency and with correlation to whether or not the furnace is running. Neither of those are the case. Next up is my dog's reaction at the end of the video from the first night. Since I didn't notice this reaction at the time, I didn't get the opportunity to try to figure out what he was looking at. We don't have any other pets that he could have been looking at, and we have, however, been having issues with a pretty large number of mice getting into the house the last few months. 13 so far, which is nuts. And we don't live in the country or anything, so I don't even know where they're coming from. But regardless, there's a realistic possibility that he saw one run across the floor. It's equally possible that he heard someone outside, since the alley on the south side of my house gets a decent share of pedestrians, even at night, usually teenagers. I can only guess, so I can't conclude something paranormal on that for sure. Let's move on to the random electromagnetism I kept detecting. The specific non-contact voltage detector I was using is made by Smart Electrician. I looked up the specs after shooting the video I used it in and was surprised to find that it doesn't detect EMFs that would correlate to voltages below 80 volts. The manufacturer didn't specify whether it's limited to a specific frequency range, but I can say for certain that it works at 60 Hertz. This device is only meant to detect EMFs maybe up to about 6 inches from the cable. I was definitely picking up EMFs that weren't staying in one spot, and that definitely did not correlate to wiring. And my dining room is, and always has been, so overblown with EMFs that it just lights up anywhere in the room. I don't know why it's always been that way. I had just assumed all these years that it was due to the older wiring in that end of the house, but that's making less sense as I think about it. It's interesting to note that the seemingly paranormal things happening in this house lately are often starting in or near the dining room. Now, presently, I'm not convinced that EMFs have any correlation to the paranormal. One of my biggest questions and concerns about whether they're useful in paranormal investigations is basically epistemic. I haven't been able to find any clear information about how it was determined that paranormal entities emit electromagnetic frequencies. I am familiar with the thought behind it, but that doesn't make sense to me, or at least not yet. Now let's talk about the Spirit Box app I was using. This is another thing I'm not really sold on. Regardless of the particular way a Spirit Box works, whether it's scanning radio channels or using sound banks, in every Spirit Box session I've ever seen, the results seem to rely on the Barnum effect. Basically, this means that words that seem vaguely relevant will seem extremely relevant, and those that seem not relevant will be ignored or forgotten. I think it's a type of confirmation bias, but I'm not sure about that. But with that being said, however, there is still some hard to deny correlation between some of the words and things going on that I wasn't even aware of at the time, which I already pointed out earlier. The correlation between the reported activity in the app and the activity of the toy is also pretty hard to ignore. The hissing sounds are hard to ignore. Basically, what I've got is a mixture of unclear and hard to explain things that are happening in this case, and that makes it difficult to come to any kind of conclusion beyond some things just being unexplained. I intend to keep logging and investigating events as they occur. I may not believe in the paranormal, but that doesn't mean I don't have my suspicions.